Natalie Portman, one of my favorites, an actress I have been admiring since the mid-1990s. She's given so many incredible performances throughout the decades, but how would I rank her 3 Oscar nominations? Hi, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender, and I just ranked the Oscar nominations of Julianne Moore. I felt like it was appropriate to also rank the nominations for her May-December co-star, Natalie Portman. 3 nominations over the course of a little more than a decade. Which one is my favorite, and which one do I put at the bottom? And of course, at the end of the video, I will give you the one performance she's given that did not get an Oscar nomination, but I think should have. Are you ready? Here we go. Number 3, Best Supporting Actress, Closer.
Show me. Where is this love? I can't see it. I can't touch it. I can't feel it.
So unlike my Julianne Moore ranking video, where I did have some issues with my bottom choice for her, The End of the Affair, I don't have an issue with any of the 3 Oscar nominations for Natalie Portman. I adore them all for different reasons. I mean, the Closer nomination is her first, and it's excellent. I'm so happy she got in to A Crowded Field back in 2005. Closer did okay that award season. Like, it didn't get into Best Picture and Best Director in too many places. That was definitely the season of Million Dollar Baby versus The Aviator. Like, which of those dramas was going to win at the Oscars in the end? Closer started off pretty well at the Golden Globes. If you remember, Natalie Portman actually won Best Supporting Actress at the 2005 Golden Globes. It is such a cute speech.
Being among all these candidates, I had no expectation of this. I admire all of you so much. Thank you. And Mike Nichols, I love you.
Her co-star Clive Owen from Closer also won that night in Best Supporting Actor. And so at the beginning of the season, it looked like maybe Closer could be competitive in those 2 categories, moving into SAG and Oscars and things. But it's like the industry, the voters, just immediately pushed back against Closer after Golden Globes. They were like, oh, no. We're not going to award this movie in acting categories. Let's go with a more traditional choice in Best Supporting Actress and give it to Cate Blanchett for The Aviator. She's playing a real-life person in that. Katharine Hepburn. The Aviator was a bigger, more epic movie, and Cate Blanchett had not won a few years before in Best Actress for Elizabeth. So that made sense, but it was weird seeing how Portman started off with that win at Golden Globes, but then she could never win at any of the other televised ceremonies. It's too bad because she is very good and memorable in the movie. She gets to show a lot of dramatic shade. She's vulnerable in some scenes. She has a raw sexuality in other scenes, and it's a very complex character. You never quite know what she's going to do and say next. And I feel like Mike Nichols' Closer was an important step in Natalie Portman's evolution as an actress, especially as an adult actress. Obviously, Portman in the 1990s had been a very talented child actress in films like The Professional and Heat and Beautiful Girls, and she had so much talent right from the get-go. You kind of knew if Portman was going to stick with this, she was going to be on another level as she got older, and she has continued to prove throughout the decades just how talented she is, continues to be, all the way up to May-December, her most recent movie. She is fantastic and Closer, and the only reason really I have it ranked last is that I just prefer her other 2 performances she gave later that got Oscar nominations. I would say most actors who have 3 Oscar nominations in their career would be lucky to have 3 nominations as great, as varied, and spectacular as Natalie Portman's. Number 2, Best Actress, Jackie.
You should prepare yourself. This article will bring you a great deal of attention.
Oh, in that case, any advice for me?
Yes. Don't marry the president.
So on a recent episode of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Natalie Portman revealed something interesting. Something that I wouldn't have necessarily expected. Cohen asked both Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman if they felt like they won their Oscar for the right movie, and as expected, Moore said no. She did not think she necessarily deserved to win for Still Alice. She would have preferred to have won for Far From Heaven. That makes sense to me. But then Portman said she doesn't think she won for the right movie. And I was like, what? Like, as I've said on this channel before, I do think her Oscar win for Black Swan is the best acting Oscar win of the 2010s. Of all 40 of those acting wins of that decade, I have always thought the best one of all is her win for Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan, but this is what Portman said she should have won for.
I felt like Jackie was a big one for me.
I did too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
What about you, Julianne?
I do find that to be pretty fascinating because Black Swan is such an emotional, physical performance for 2 hours. I mean, she gets to do everything in that movie and really step up to the plate as a dramatic actress. But you know what? She also gets to do that and so much more in Jackie, playing the real-life Jackie Onassis. I thought that film was kind of underrated, honestly. I picked it as the number 3 best film of 2016. I loved it. Not only the Portman performance, but the mood of the movie, the cinematography, the score. It's so gorgeous to look at, and Portman feels so at home in that character. She fits Jackie Onassis like a glove in so many ways. In her scenes of joy and heartache and anger and tragedy, Natalie Portman goes all in, capturing the voice, the woman's essence. It all works beautifully. And in the 2017 award season, there were some early signs that Portman could maybe be on her way to a second Best Actress Oscar win after she won Best Actress at Critics' Choice. This is not something everyone remembers. Many people think 2017 Best Actress came down to Emma Stone for La La Land versus Isabelle Huppert for Elle. I mean, yes, they both won at the Golden Globes, but at Critics' Choice, Portman won, and here is a little of her speech.
To all of the people who made the film, especially Pablo Larraín, our incredible director who just made it every day so beautiful. It feels crazy to get rewarded for something that in itself was a rewarding experience.
So yeah, that was a really cool win, and to be perfectly honest, I am only honest here, my favorite performance for Best Actress at the Oscars that year, of those 5 women, it was Natalie Portman for Jackie. I thought she did a better job than Stone in La La Land, and yes, Isabelle Huppert for Elle. I do think that would have been a well-deserved second Best Actress trophy for Portman, even though it wouldn't have been very exciting because, as it turned out, she did not attend the Oscars that year. She was very pregnant. I feel like by Oscar night, she knew she had no chance in winning. Emma Stone had won SAG and BAFTA, and La La Land had gotten 14 Oscar nominations, and Jackie had only gotten 3, actress, costume design, and score. So it wasn't looking good for her chances. Like, it was clearly going to Emma Stone, but kind of like how Emma Stone just got a well-deserved second Best Actress Academy Award for Poor Things, I do think in 2017 this would have been a well-deserved second Best Actress Oscar win for Natalie Portman. But if she had won for Jackie, then Emma Stone would have just won her first Oscar, I guess. I don't know. The math is getting kind of crazy. All right, and that takes me to my number 1 choice. I don't think there was any suspense here. Of course, the number 1 Oscar nomination for Natalie Portman is Best Actress, Black Swan. This is a monumental performance, still is after 14 years. I love Black Swan. I love Natalie Portman in it so much. She just goes for broke in that movie. She is not holding anything back. She is surrounded by an insanely talented ensemble cast, including Mila Kunis, who is probably the best she's ever been in that movie, and Barbara Hershey, and Winona Ryder. Darren Aronofsky does an amazing directing job. It's crazy to think, to this day, this is still the only film Aronofsky has gotten a Best Director Oscar nomination for. You have lovely, surreal imagery. I love the horror bent the movie has. I mean, this is kind of a horror film. It's terrifying at times. I mean, I don't think you would put Black Swan in the camp of like Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street, or even something like Misery, which won Kathy Bates a Best Actress Oscar. But part of the reason I love this Oscar win for Natalie Portman so much is that Black Swan is kind of a genre film, and you don't see that recognized in major acting categories at the Oscars very much, especially these days. Like, almost never. Black Swan goes to some very scary and intense places, and Natalie Portman is not holding back at all. I mean, by the end of the film, she is kind of gone. She is so precise in her acting choices. She's working at such a high level that when I saw Black Swan for the first time, it took me a couple minutes to get up out of my seat. I was in awe. I had always had such reverence for Natalie Portman, still do of course, but she knocked me out in that movie in a way very few actors have done so throughout the last 15 years. Like, she is so goddamn extraordinary in Black Swan from beginning to end. It did not surprise me at all when she swept the season in Best Actress. She didn't miss anywhere along the way. She even won at the Film Independent Spirit Awards, and it makes sense in a crowded Best Actress field that included Annette Bening for The Kids Are All Right, and Michelle Williams, who is devastatingly good in Blue Valentine, and Nicole Kidman in Rabbit Hole, and Jennifer Lawrence, who was there for the first time for Winter's Bone. Like, every performance that got into Best Actress in early 2011 is a banger, is awesome. Any one of those performances could have won in a different year, but Natalie Portman in Black Swan, nobody was beating her, and for good reason. This is an all-timer Oscar nomination and win. I still think it is the best acting Oscar win of the 2010s, and it is easily, of her 3 Oscar nominations to date, Natalie Portman's very best.
I want to thank my parents, who are right there, first and foremost, for giving me my life and for giving me the opportunity to work from such an early age and showing me every day how to be a good human being by example.
And now finally, what is a performance Natalie Portman has given throughout the years that did not get an Oscar nomination, but I think deserved to? There were, of course, a few options I could have chosen here. There's Anywhere But Here, which got her a Golden Globe nomination in 2000. There's May December, of course, which also got her a Golden Globe nomination this year, and would have made a really cool 4th Oscar nomination for Portman. I love her in Annihilation. Annihilation is an incredible movie that made my top 10 list of 2018. I mean, it came out at the very beginning of the year. And I mean, as we found out in early 2019, that was a stacked Best Actress category. So Portman was never getting in there, but it would have been a great Oscar nomination. I love her in Garden State and V for Vendetta, but I would go back to the beginning of her career, not to her very first movie, but I do think a really cool first Oscar nomination for Portman back in 1997 would have been Best Supporting Actress for Beautiful Girls.
If I'm not mistaken, you've come back here to the House of Loneliness and Tears to Daddy Downer and Brother Bummer to come to some sort of decision about life.
So Beautiful Girls is another film with an amazing ensemble cast, so many wonderful adult actors, including Matt Dillon and Mira Sorvino and Rosie O'Donnell, who's very good in that movie. There's Martha Plimpton and Michael Rappaport and Uma Thurman and Timothy Hutton. but I think the MVP of Beautiful Girls, the best performance in the movie, the one I found to be most memorable when I was younger, was a young Natalie Portman. Her character may be young and vulnerable, but she's so intelligent. How she converses with the Timothy Hutton character. She just has this maturity about her that is so compelling in a movie with multiple storylines and a lot of things going on. Even when Natalie Portman is not on screen, you're thinking about her, and I think that's the mark of a very talented actress. I mean, Natalie Portman hit the ground running right away with her feature film debut, The Professional, and then within a couple years, she's in Heat and Mars Attacks and Everyone Says I Love You. And she just right from the beginning proved how talented she was and how from a very young age, she had a very good taste for material, working with amazing directors. I do think Natalie Portman by now should have at least 4, if not 5, Oscar nominations. I do think a really cool early one could have been for Beautiful Girls. Okay, so to end here is my final ranking. Number 3, Best Supporting Actress, Closer. Number 2, Best Actress, Jackie. And number 1, Best Actress, Black Swan. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below what is your ranking of Natalie Portman's 3 Oscar nominations, and what's a film she wasn't nominated for you think she should have been. We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.